joining us, and I'm Natalie Guest. I am the director of our geospatial cluster here on the coast, and I am very happy to announce that we have Ms. Kelly Boyd with Stennis Space Center, who is going to tell us a little bit about how Stennis utilizes GIS activities. A few things I do want to mention is that if everybody could put their sound on mute, just so that way there's no background interference. And if you would like, you can always type in any questions you have into the chat, so that at the end we will have time for Q&A for Kelly when she's finished with her presentation. And I also want to let you guys know that this webinar is being recorded, so when we're finished, I'll be able to share the recorded webinar with you all. I'll be able to post it on our YouTube channel and share that link. So without further ado, Ms. Kelly Boyd with Stennis Space Center. I would like to say that she did just receive an award, NASA's Exceptional Public Achievement Medal, for her innovative accomplishment as the A2R Research Project Leader for Facilities GIS at Stennis. Her expertise and successful system strategy led to Stennis being designed as the principal NASA Center for GIS activities. So that's incredible, and congratulations, Kelly. What an honor. So thank you so much for your time this morning, and we look forward to hearing everything you have to share with us.
Thank you so much, Natalie, and thank you to everyone for having me on the webinar today. I appreciate the opportunity to present. I'm at Stennis Space Center. I've been here for 9 years, different contracts, or different contractors, but my current company is HU Research. They hold the laboratory services contract here at Stennis, and GIS is kind of an offshoot of that. Just a little bit about what we do. We have a team of 2 personnel currently here at Stennis doing GIS. We provide mapping support to Stennis and NASA headquarters as the GIS Principal Center. We develop and maintain the NASA-wide institutional GIS portal, which I'll show you a little bit about on later slides. And we also facilitate a NASA geospatial community of practice of the user base around at the different centers. And then there's a newer effort. It's a NASA GIS working group tasked with looking at ways to consolidate data from the different centers. I'm co-chairing that effort with another individual at Langley Research Center. And then we also we provide Tier 1 support for our Esri Enterprise License Agreement. So people around the centers contact us for initial technical support. We help them if we can, or we direct them to Esri technical support. Just a little overview of what we do in the areas of GIS. We provide support in the areas of facilities, environmental, emergency management, safety, and economic development. And that includes data development, conversion, management, the automation of processes using Python and Model Builder, development of cartographic products, web mapping application development, and also system database administration. This is a slide I wanted to include. I had it in my slide deck when I gave a presentation on a GIS day, and it was just kind of touching on just all the different areas that GIS hits. And so this is kind of the examples for our group. As it can kind of be very technical, or it can hit in areas of non-technical areas like project management and customer service. And I'm sure this is for anyone GIS shop, this wouldn't be an exhaustive list. There's many more hats that you can wear as a GIS person. Starting off, our support for Stennis, there's some static map production that we do. We find that people still want to put a map on their wall and be able to glance over at it as they're doing their work. So this is a building map. It's color-coded by how the buildings are managed, and includes a building index. And then using this template, we're often asked for custom maps that show things like utility lines or specific features that they want to see that they're in their area of management here at Stennis. We also we map the contamination plumes. This is done every 5 years. It's CERCLA areas that that were contaminated back in the day, and that it's a program just to clean that up. So we just show the plumes, and they go into a report to the state. Also, document support mapping, and for permits, like, so a map is, if a picture is worth 1,000 words, like a map can show like what you're talking about very well. So like this goes in, we create maps that go into the reports, documents, and also permits that are sent off to the different entities by the environmental office. Also, we use GIS for site selection. So if there's like a future development planned, the project managers can provide criteria, and then we can narrow down sites that may be suitable for that particular development. This is our main Stennis GIS. It's currently based on Adobe Flex, but we're going to be moving it to Web App Builder in the coming months. So currently, you can locate a building here. You can locate coordinates and get coordinates. Like, that's something that the engineers or environmental office often have to do, is they might have to include coordinates in like their permit applications. They also like draw and measure sites like that they might be planning for future developments, and it's a good way. Like, I think one of the engineers I was in a meeting with on Friday said GIS gets you like 75%, 80% of the way in your design, and then you have to go to like your efforts with where you're going to be surveying or things like that. So that was good to hear. Also, you can view the building details, view layers such as like flood zones and the utilities, create custom buffers, like this is showing a custom buffer here on the map. Print, export the maps. I just had someone come in my office that they were like, they're pretty new to Stennis, so they're like, oh, somebody gave me this printout. How do I do that? So I showed them how they can make their own printout on a template, like within this application, and then also create elevation profiles. This is our facilities infrastructure real estate tool. So this is showing what's inside the building. Users are able to drill down to the room level either by searching on person. So if I search on my last name, it's going to spit back anybody who has that name as their first or last name. And then when I click on me, it drives me into my office. And then this information, that's like, it's how Stennis manages their tenant information. They can edit the information based on if they like walled in a cubicle, they could change that here. If it's heated and cooled, if there was a room that was not heated, they could change that, or not heated or not cooled, like the mechanical rooms. The space type, if it's assigned space, or if it's common to a company or the floor or the building, if it's occupied or vacant. And then there are other tabs here, and I'll do a quick demo of this application also. These other tabs include information like who is paying for the room, who is using it, which employees are located in the room, what is the information about their computers, and then they can view reports based on this information. Let me just end this, and I'll go and give a demonstration. Oops. Okay, so this is the facility infrastructure real estate tool. Okay, so I showed you how you can search for somebody, but you can also drill down from the building level. So I'm going to go to 1100, and then I'll just type in my room number. Okay, so then that'll bring me into my office. So as I showed you, like, you can change information here, make edits. These are domains that have been set up in our SQL Server database. Also, these other tabs, like this is the organizations, a program code, the room use, a percentage, like it could be that 2 organizations are sharing the room, so it could be 50-50 or 70-30. And then also like the employee and contact information company for the person sitting in the room. And in some spaces, this could be more than one person, and you would just page through all the different people. The LAN information, so that saves people from having to like crawl under desks to find jack information. And also other info, so you can have like conference room load, notes, and this is a attached photo of the conference room, so you can see what it looks like. Also, we can also render the floor plans in different ways. So they're currently rendered based on like this space or class, which is cubicle, office, bathroom, mechanical. So if I go to class type, that's basically describing like the HVAC system, or if it's heated and cooled, or just heated, if there's no heat or air conditioning. Also, we can show space type, and that's if it's common to either the floor, company, or building, or assignable space in red, or shared, like this is the elevator. And then also occupied vacant, so it's the rooms in red are vacant. Let's see that here. And then if we wanted to look at a report for the vacant rooms, we can display that. And these reports are, they're ArcGIS query layers that have been published in ArcGIS server. So if there is a change made, an edit made to this information, it will automatically reflect in these reports, and then they can be opened in Excel. And so that's basically that demonstration. So let me go back to the slides. Okay, so how we manage the data for the facility infrastructure real estate tool. We're currently using the ArcGIS for AutoCAD plugin. So this allows a published service of like the floor plans to be added into AutoCAD, so that the drafters who are managing this data, when they make an edit, it will be automatically reflected in the GIS system. But the drafting group is also interested in, they're in some ways, they're going towards building information modeling, which is a 3D building drawn in Revit, but they're using Revit for their BIM models. So as a function of BIM models, you can export the entire thing as an industry foundation class, and that includes like a representation of the spaces by each floor. So what we've created a workflow to manage that data, so that we can eventually use that within our FIRE tool. So we can automate the conversion from the industry foundation class to a GIS format. This is this 3D looking floor plan is like a multi-patch file, and generate a 2D version from that multi-patch that can be used within the application. So we have that like in our back pocket for when building information modeling is going to start like slowly inching its way into like how the drafting group does things. And there are some that they're already maintaining in Revit, so we have that workflow ready. Also, interior spaces can also be tied to other data like asbestos and lead paint, like high noise areas, local exhaust ventilation. And of course, we have mechanical rooms. You can saw those like on the last page, on the last slide. So that's another use for building interior mapping that really makes it, you can tie it to all sorts of different kinds of data like within the building. We've also mapped energy use intensity. This is showing like the energy usage per square foot, so you can really get a sense of like what buildings are using the most energy, so like data centers and such. and compare the values like between different years. Also, we've looked into kind of mapping things like pressure vessels and trying to get all of the information, as much information as possible, from outside of the GIS database. So, for instance, like just the location and an identifier are stored in GIS, but then we can query like the Maximo, the equipment database for information about that feature, or query a different database like that we call the Capstone, and also link to the current reports, or to the record in Maximo, or the record of the drawing, the associated drawing in the drafting and design management system that stores all the site's drawings. So just the idea of data integration is like GIS can be a tool to like tie all this information together. It's like a bridge for all these different databases that are used. Also, like segueing into talking about how we maintain the NASA-wide GIS portal, we have web mapping applications for 15 different NASA entities across the country, and that includes data collected from centers and free public sources. The real property management data is a database that includes information about buildings such as costs and square footage. Like that is updated on a quarterly basis. And then the purpose of this is just to increase the situational awareness for any NASA personnel who are looking across more than one center or at headquarters. So this is our light viewer. So in this light viewer, I can just click on a building, get the information. This happens to be at Ames, where we have like building interiors. So I can click here and go to that particular building's floor plan and view it. I can email the map to someone. I can zoom into it. I can look at all the other data that is associated at the center. And then I'm just going to give you a quick demo of the light viewer. So this one is at, this one is at Stennis. So I mentioned zoom in, and then when I click on like a building, I also have like these pie charts. Like this is showing like the annual the maintenance cost by system broken down for that building, like roof, HVAC systems, electrical systems. And then I can also see what the condition of those systems are by building. Like the space utilization, like the square footage that is assigned to each category, like conference room, administrative, miscellaneous, office, personnel, other personnel, contractor, civil service. And then we also, I have a later slide about this, but it shows like the electrical energy usage by fiscal year, and then this is natural gas. Also, we have a tool that that supports calculations based on the real property database. So there's a lot of numeric fields here that represent things like book value, like the operating and maintenance costs. So I can, if I want to see what operating plus maintenance looks like, I can execute that, and it's going to create a new layer and display that on the map in a color-coded map service. So here it's showing me like the red, which there aren't that many red, there's some red, have the highest like combined operations and maintenance costs. And then I can view like the calculated values by building, or click on a building and see like the calculated value. And then we also, I can clear this away. We also include like the buildings color-coded by different fields in the real property, like years until disposition, current status, most of the buildings are active, historic status, facility condition index. Okay, let me go back to the slides. Okay, this is currently we have a flex space viewer for each center, and as I said, for the Stennis application. Flex is, support for Flex I think is over at this point. It's been deprecated by Esri. We're moving towards using the web app builder instead. The latest web app builder that has come out with ArcGIS Online has just had some really cool widgets that I'm waiting to get my hands on, like the add data widget, where you can kind of add data from your portal. Like, it's just easier for users not to be bogged down like with a massive legend, but to be able to like add like additional data that might be like you stored in your portal, and as well as other data from that they may be using, or from other sources and agencies, government agencies. So within the FlexSpace viewer, we can measure areas and distances, create the buffers, elevation profile tool, look at data like the flood zones, also like click on these buildings and see the information about them. Also, we've incorporated the Homeland Security Infrastructure Program data. So this is over 400 data layers that characterize the infrastructure. So this helps us see like what's going on outside our NASA centers. There's information like hazards, like historical tropical storms, historic fire perimeters, and there's also a lot of information about like government facilities and districts that can be turned on like with like our Stennis data or NASA data to view more, kind of see what's going on in the area. Also, we've done some specific projects for centers, like at Mishu. We mapped their confined space assets within building 103, and so we could link directly to their Maximo record, and also attach like a photo of the confined space. Also, as I mentioned, Ames sent us their floor plan information. Not every center has floor plans, so it's been a little difficult to do that like on a NASA-wide basis. But Ames sent us their floor plan information, and they update that, so you can view, like, click on a room similar to the fire tool and view information like the room type, room use, if there's a high bay available. Also, from other databases, like this is the NASA Environmental Tracking System, a non-geospatial database. They can set up links like that go directly to that facility that they're talking about in this record, by passing the building number in the URL. So, like, if they're looking at this building, it's a 10 by 10 foot shop. They can click here and then see what that looks like on the screen. And I mentioned this is showing we can turn on like energy metering status to look at like what types of meters buildings have, like, or if they have no meter, as well as like the annual usage. And we're working on incorporating climate layers, and that's what I was mentioning, like that add data widget is we want to be able to, we don't want to bog people down with lots and lots of data like that they have to search through, but maybe they can just like see what's available to add, or do searches like based on our portal for ArcGIS catalog. As like currently, like our system is based on, we use SQL Server database with ArcGIS First Server, and we're slowly starting to use Portal for ArcGIS as well to kind of take advantage of their templates such as story mapping and the collector for ArcGIS and the operations dashboard. So these are a couple examples of story maps that we've created. Like this is looking at post-Katrina mitigation action items. So around the center, looking at like what buildings have had repairs done to them, so you can kind of tour through them and look at each building. Like some of them may have just had one repair or multiple. Also looking at, we had a request for looking at the buildings by era, like what buildings were built between 1960 and 1972 during the Mississippi Test Facility era, moving on to like space shuttle, like what buildings were added then, and then on to like the modern eras. Also, facility capabilities, looking at our test answer, all of our test capabilities that either test engines or support the test of engines, looking at those like in their different areas, and then being able to expand the view to see what capabilities they have. And then also industrial control systems, which are systems that that control like equipment around the center or monitor them. So there's different systems that we can show on like the different tabs. There's 3 different systems because of the Area 9, the inclusion of Area 9. Also, we're moving towards like the facility infrastructure real estate tool, editing those floor plans. What if we could edit those like while the people responsible for editing that information are in the buildings that they're walking down and coordinating the moves, so they can click on a room, and then if they want to change the class code for this room from miscellaneous to say conference room, they can do that here, like on an iPhone, on a mobile device, and then it will update. They'll be able to see that update back in the office instantaneously. Also, operations dashboard, which is another template that's provided through Portal for ArcGIS. We've done examples like oil-containing equipment, looking at the generators and transformers, and other features that they manage and have to coordinate into a plan for if there was any issue with these pieces of equipment. Also, SSC incidents during a hurricane or an emergency. So in the operations dashboard, you can, of course, like chart like different, like this is showing, like, I know this is small, like incidents by status, showing them by type, and then you can just see a list of them. And then if you set up a filter, you can and you just turn on incidents that are active, then it's going to update these charts and lists based on what you've, and the total based on what you've filtered. And then also environmental cleanup and restoration across NASA, showing the different types of projects and broken down by law code like CERCLA, RCRA, and also like by center. And this is kind of moving forward. I just got back from the Esri conference and started playing with the JavaScript API 4.0 that supports 3D. Like this is showing some of our CERCLA wells beneath the surface. So there's a lot more functionality to really render these to show like what you're looking for, and perhaps add in like the water levels in addition to that. So we're kind of working towards that. And also we're going to start working with modeling the great data that the state provided, like this point cloud, using ArcGIS Pro. We should be able to model this into, they have some great tools to create the 3D buildings and trees. And I saw that Barbara Yastin is on the line, and I hope I didn't say your name wrong, but thank you so much for all your help in getting that data. And that's basically all I have. Thank you so much for listening. Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you, Kelly. Does anybody have any questions? If you are muted, you can unmute yourself, or you can type questions into the chat. Well, I have one. Kelly, so you mentioned that you guys handle, do you handle all the real estate kind of options of all the other NASA space centers, correct?
Not all of the real estate. That we handle like kind of a consolidation of NASA data, or actually at the outside the building, at the building level, we do map all of the real property management data, but inside the building, as I mentioned, that we don't have data for all of the centers. Is that what you meant?
Yeah, so I was curious as to, what you found was one of the greater challenges in dealing, when you're off-site, dealing with these other centers. What is one of the, some of the major challenges you have in terms of collecting the data or even, being able to coordinate that for this other site?
Yeah, it can be challenging because each center is a little bit different, and where one center might have like a lot of data, others may be missing, they may not have had like the personnel or like the center investment in GIS, so sometimes you'll see gaps. Like that's why as far to this point we've kind of kept things separate, so that not only because we want to be able to show the data in its native coordinate system, but also because a lot of these data, like at Ames, they have burrowing owl locations. It's like some of that data is going to be difficult to consolidate. But I think that with the portal, the addition of Portal for ArcGIS, it's like it will be like a suite of applications where some of the applications can be looking across NASA, and also have like an individual application that just looks at one center to kind of have multiple ways to view the data through that portal concept.
Okay, I gotcha.
I have one question.
Sure.
This is David Craze. I saw that Esri has some tools coming out that allow for dynamic data through beacon technology or sensor technology for real-time streaming, and you mentioned about the phone application that's there. Do you foresee any application of any type of real-time streaming dynamic data for sensors, or maybe even something that might be utilized by mobile technology?
Yes, absolutely. With the mobile technology, we would like to start using that collector for ArcGIS. We're not yet. I think the tool that you are mentioning is Geo Event Processor, which is an extension of ArcGIS for server that does support streaming of real-time data. And we do have an instance of that software that we're going to be starting to use. Like I haven't really delved into it yet. I know that there have been, like some of our engineers have mentioned wanting to kind of look more at, to kind of tie into sensors that are existing and be able to see them like displayed on a map. But I think my main usage for Geo Event Processor is that NASA does like to, they like to use spreadsheets. And I know that that's been a kind of a request, is to be able to upload a spreadsheet and to see it color-coded by building on a map. So I've been told that GeoEvent can handle that as well. But yeah, like once we have that in place, like the sky's the limit for doing for working with like sensor data. We just don't currently have that many sensors that we're using like with the GIS, but there is potential for that.
I see. And do you see that being a retrofit with like a smart building application, or would that be something that would be design build going forward?
I guess it would probably not be a building specific thing, more like a tank or a kind of a lift station type thing.
I see.
Yeah.
And what was the name of the software again?
Geo Event Processor.
Geo Event Processor. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Sure.
Does anybody else have any questions? Well, all right. Well, I see Kelly has listed her contact number and email address. So if you have any other questions that you may think of later, please feel free to reach out to her or to myself. We would be happy to get any questions you have answered. Thank you so much, Kelly, for your time this morning and for sharing all this information. We really appreciate it. And,
oh, no problem. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you guys so much, and you guys have a great day.
This was great. Thanks.
Thanks.